What's going on, guys? Welcome to Ajax Reviews. Today we review Sleepaway Slasher. I bet that title took some thought. Directed by Alexander Birrell, Eugen Bräunig, and Emma Hall Martin. The creepy campground used as the set of an 80s horror flick that went unfinished when its star was killed becomes the site of a new film festival. Sleepaway Slasher. Man, I was going through my movie collection. And I was like, fuck, man, what am I going to review? And I was like, you know what? Let's see what's on Tubi. So I went over to Tubi and I'm scrolling and I made it to like the 1300, number 1300 in horror movies. And I came across Sleepaway Slasher and I'm like, well, that's interesting. And the cover looked pretty decent and, it's got slasher in the title. So I'm like, well, let's see what Tubi has to offer me today. So I clicked on it. Here is what I saw.
My name is Peter Von Ness. I am the son of Norman Von Ness, and I'm also the person who started this festival.
So have you ever watched a movie just strictly based on the title? Well, that's exactly what happened here. I waited and waited and waited for any kind of slashing or slasher style anything to happen. Here's a question. How in the f*** can you put slasher in the title when there's no slashing? This movie, in a way, reminded me of Seed of Chucky. Now, I like Seed of Chucky. I didn't like this. But it reminded me of Seed of Chucky because you know how in that movie, 1 minute, Chucky's kid is Glenn, and then the next minute, he's Glenda? That was this movie. So, this movie has slasher in the title. Then it started off as a witch movie. Then it went into an anthology, and then turned into a found footage movie. I mean, Jesus, pick a genre. This movie's bipolar as fuck.
Hear our plea, for we must cast this evil spirit that dwells within this woman out and burn it out of her flesh.
So finally, after an hour and 17 minutes, we finally get to see a dead body of someone that died off screen that we didn't even know died. And then immediately after, we see another dead body that also died off screen with no explanation of what happened to either one of them. I mean, a part of me can kind of appreciate that the filmmakers were trying to create something artistic, something different. But Jesus cakes, man. With 3 directors and a fucking runtime of an hour and 41 minutes, fucking shit. This movie failed on every front. Now, the location was awesome, the cinematography was good, and the acting was decent. It just goes to show, man, when you have too many cooks in the kitchen, something's going to get burned and nothing's going to turn out good because everybody has to put their ingredients in. This movie had so much potential, but it also had so much trouble identifying with any certain subgenre of horror. What exactly the f*** am I watching here? The Blair Witch Anthology Ghost Story Project? So I have an honest question for the filmmakers that made this movie. Do you actually know the definition of slasher film? What happens when we Google that? Let's see. 1. A person or thing that's slashing. 2. A horror movie, especially one in which victims, typically women or teenagers, are slashed with knives or razors. I mean, I'm not mad. I'm not mad that I was misled. I'm not mad that the title lied to me. I'm just disappointed.
And everybody else will see that. This is who you really are. Look at Kelly. You owe this to her.
So, was there anything about this movie that I liked? Actually, there was. The premise was actually really fucking cool. Having a 48-hour film festival style contest thing going on. Right there filming horror movies in a haunted land. I mean, that was pretty fucking cool, man, where you could hire any actor that you wanted for your movie, and then the winner of the festival, they have their movie shown in full at the end. I mean, that's kind of a cool concept. They just shit the bed on everything else. And yeah, the cinematography was cool. So then what did I dislike? Well, watching this movie, it was like every 5 minutes or so, it seemed like they needed a transition. And the only thing that they resorted to over and over and over and over and over again was drone shots. Now, I don't like drone shots as much as the next guy, but fuck, man. Like every 5 minutes showing like the same 2 drone shots. Find a different transition. Fade to black. Something. Another thing I didn't like is it seems like they didn't even attempt to do any sort of color grading. Also, just how bipolar this fucking movie was, man. What are you? Like, are you angry? Are you mad? Are you happy? Or what the fuck are you? Like, you go from this to this, like that. And, like, it started off, like I was saying, it was a witch movie. And I'm like, all right, I'm not into witch movies, but this is kind of cool. And then it went to, like, a fucking ghost story. And I'm like, wait a minute. What the fuck just happened? And then it's an anthology. Like, everybody's telling their stories because they're showing everybody's little movies and shit. And then it turned into, like, found footage. Like, oh, well, here's this fucking tape of what happened to this guy. Like, oh my god, dude, figure it out. Another thing I really did not like was the effects. Like, the effects don't deserve any sort of credit at all. If I did the effects in this movie, I'd be ashamed of myself. And the last thing I really didn't like about this movie, it was just way too fucking long, man. 1 hour and 41 minutes to tell a story that you couldn't successfully tell. So, would I recommend this movie? Hell no. This movie was a fucking snooze fest, man. It was a complete waste of time. 1 hour and 41 minutes that I will never see again. Avoid this one at all costs. I watched this one so you don't ever have to. Just skip it if you see it on Tubi. And with that being said, I'm going to give this movie a very fucking generous 1.5 out of 5. And that's going to do it for me for today, guys. Remember, until next time, stay smart, stay clean, keep the dream. Don't let the man get you down, because if he does, he may trick you into shooting a shitty horror film on his haunted movie set, only for nothing to happen. Yet you still leave feeling like you just got fucked. That's a concept.